America, a few years from now, prosperous, clean, and sober. Except one night a year, when all drugs and alcohol are legal.
For you seniors, you will be able to participate in your first binge. Let's say your name's Kimberly Jones, and let's say you binged on a jet ski, which exploded into flames. She's here tonight. Can you guys guess which one she is? I'll give you a hint. You're cold, getting warmer, red hot, burning hot. She's the one that looks like a mummy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Film Optix review brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network. I'm your host, Christian, and today we will be reviewing the latest Hulu original movie, The Binge. And as always, I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Devin. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing swell. It's exciting times. We got
It is exciting.
Tenet tomorrow.
Tenet. That's going to be fun. On a Monday. We get to see it before the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, not the rest of the world. I don't know if it's the rest of the world, but...
Rest of the country, for sure.
Yeah, that is true. And really quick, since we're on the topic of Tenet, we have decided to have a non-spoiler review and then a spoiler cast for you guys as well. So we'll be hard at work pumping that up for you guys. It's gonna be busy here this coming up weekends this week. I mean, you know, we got our new show that we do every Friday, and then we got Mulan this weekend as well. So that's going to be interesting. But before we begin today's discussion, we would like to thank Hulu for allowing us to watch this film early for our podcast. And speaking of our podcast, of course, you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. That's a lot of podcasts. Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, TuneIn, iHeart Radio, and of course, Pandora. So, as I said before, we are reviewing The Binge today. So, I'll read the synopsis really quick, and then we're just going to pretty much get straight into it. So, the synopsis reads, set in a time where all drugs and alcohol are illegal, the only day anyone can participate in the quote-unquote fun is on Binge Day. So just to give you a little context, the premise of the movie, it's like a modern day prohibition. You know, all drugs, narcotics, and alcohol have been banned from the United States. And for a 12-hour period, wow, I cannot talk today. For a 12-hour period, once a year, they have this binge, type festivities that everyone takes care that is in. And the drinking age has been lowered down to 18. So that's a lot of fun.
So it's a parody of The Purge, except just with drugs and alcohol instead of murder and weird stuff.
Yeah, murder and whatever else there may be.
And 8 movies.
Hey, can you believe it, man? It's insane. It's so hard to keep up with that series. I think I watched like the first one and I was just like done. And it's just like, this is going to help out with like, the crime rate and whatnot. And it's like, I mean, is it though? I don't really know. But what were your initial thoughts about this movie, Devin?
It was a lot of fun, I thought. It's kind of interesting because it seems like for the past few years, parody movies have been dying. The scary movies, the epic movie, We Are Spartans, they seem to have died off, but this is a nice change of pace for a parody movie. They did it the right way. It's still an original idea, but it's making fun of the idea of The Purge. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I actually watched this film twice. Like I just had a good time with it.
I might watch it again with the family at some point.
Oh, absolutely! It's a great time.
I do think it would have been even better to watch in a group setting. Get a lot of laughs in there.
Absolutely, yeah. I really wish I would have watched this with friends. Maybe we'll start doing that. See if they're interested in it. Like, hey, you guys want to watch this? It's like, why? It's like, oh, we're reviewing it for the podcast, and I kind of just want to watch it with with people. Movies like this, not every single movie, but yeah. I definitely believe that this is the type of movie that, you can just, you're hanging out with your bros, your gals, your friends, And it's like, hey, like what movie should we watch? It's like, oh, here's a fun movie that everyone can enjoy because everybody loves the, it's. I guess it is cliche in a way.
But it is. There's a lot of cliche, and it is like really dumb, but it's still
it's
fun.
a lot of fun. Yeah, like the whole let's pack entire, 1 year of craziness of high school before we graduate into one night.
Yeah, a lot of book smart feels. They also had a few of the same actors.
Yes, they're branching out in a sense, but yeah, I was happy to have caught those two. Jared, Jared for sure. Oh man, that was hysterical. But yeah, man, this movie was great. Overall, I really did enjoy myself. The cast in themselves were it seemed like. I can't really say it was like a lot of like great chemistry, but like they just had fun with it, It was just more of like a laid back, like just interesting film. But I wanted to talk about some of the characters that we have here. Of course, we have oh my gosh, Hags, the black guy.
Strange name.
Yeah, AKA Quan.
Yeah,
Quan?
That was rough.
That was Vic. Before we get any further, can we talk about Vince Vaughn for a second? Because I've not seen him in a movie in forever, and
I did not expect him to have this big of a role. I thought it was just like a few minutes, but he was in it the entire time.
He was El Pantera. Good stuff. But yeah, between of course you have Griffin, who plays Jared in Booksmart, aka his real name is Skyler. Gisondo.
He's becoming like one of my favorite like young comedian actors. Like there's a lot of stuff that I like him in. He was in Booksmart, obviously. He was in the show Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix, which I really liked.
Was he?
And also that remake of the Vacation movie a few years ago.
Oh, that's right.
It was weird, but kind of funny. I don't know. I just like his humor.
Yeah, his humor in this. He was, he wasn't necessarily like the dorky guy who got picked on a lot. I mean, clearly between Griffin and Hags, they were. It seemed that they were liked by some people, but like it kind of seemed like they were outcasts in a way. But it didn't really feel like, these guys are dorks, but they're just trying to find their place in high school as every coming of age story dealing with high school seems to be about. But especially like between Griffin and Hags, I guess within the story, Griffin he's going to Brown after high school graduation, but it doesn't seem that Hags has that same future.
Yeah, it's very book smarty, just right there.
Yeah, it really was. But it didn't really necessarily say why. Like they didn't dig too deep into it. It was just they're 18 now. They're allowed to participate in the binge, and they want to binge. They want to go out, have fun, make memories, and just do all crazy, stupid stuff together.
Yeah, I also think Dexter Darden kind of stole the show a little bit for a newcomer on the screen for me. I've never seen him before. I guess he was in the Maze Runner movies, it looks like, but he was really entertaining.
He was. I could, between him and Vince Vaughn, I mean, it probably would be Dexter Darden.
You know what to expect from Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, but he killed it in this role. Like he was the principal that like made hummus. Like that's such a weird quirk.
The first scene he's in where they're in the locker room and he's just quipping just everybody in the locker room. It was pretty funny. Just back to back.
He walks up to Griffin. He's like, my daughter's been talking a lot about you. It's like, I'm really excited that my daughter's like in
a brown man.
Close relation with a brown man. He was like, wait, let me back that up. I want to take that out of context. It was great. He was fantastic in this movie. Just playing the principal that has this like dark, mysterious past. Like his crazy side came out towards the end of the movie, of course, during I forgot the name of the competition, the gauntlet that they were doing, and they find out that he's El Pantera. He completely like fucks up some high schoolers. punch throats them. I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, doesn't get arrested. He's just like running this entire
That was
town.
kind of weird. Just ruthlessly beating up a high school kid.
I was like, holy crap, dude, what is going on? But it was so funny. Even with, I would have to say with Hags and even Andrew, the scene with Andrew and his mom.
Yeah, they're just,
that really.
they're just screaming at each other, and he's just like, "Yep, that's how she shows love."
Yeah, he's like, I love you too. Give mommy a kiss. And then she burns her cigarette on his tongue. I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane. But it was a fun little, moment. But I'm really glad that I didn't even watch the trailer for this. And I just, I sat down, watched it about a week ago, and I was just like, all right, we're just gonna watch this and see what happens, and I just had a good time. Like when I went back and watched the trailer, like I'll watch it after like my first viewing just to see, and I was like, I'm really glad I didn't watch the trailer because, as we've said before, it's very hard for comedy related or comedy focused movies to have a good trailer, to not show all their funniest jokes, and to leave things in the dark for the movie itself. But I wanted to go over. You have any least favorite moments in the film that anything comes to mind for you?
I mean, it was really weird, but I really like the musical.
Yeah, after their fight.
I like how they set it up in the beginning though, because they're like they don't know how drugs work in this universe, so they're like trying to. They have rumors of what happens when you take certain drugs. So the one lady was like, "I heard if you take shrooms, then do an animal sacrifice, your life becomes a musical." And then that's exactly what happened to them. That was pretty funny.
Hax is like, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
It was actually like a good song too. I was like, what the hell? How are they making this sound so good? And then in the credits, they did like a Hamilton type song.
Yeah, they did. I thought that was very clever. Like, I believe Ricky over at the Music City Drive-In podcast did he had a interview. I believe it was with the director of the Binge. I'll post the link to the review and the podcast description for those who want to check it out. I believe that he did for sure, but I thought that was really cool. And he said he had a blast talking to him as well. So it's just like, all right, it's not a bad idea. Maybe get some reviews, some interviews on the podcast. No, it's all right. But I want to say really quick, Hag's best friend ever.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. Usually they like hate each other in these type of stories, but it was kind of the reverse here, where he's helping them out the whole time.
Yeah, like, and it didn't, like, even when they had their fight, because obviously, they're under the influence, it did not feel like it didn't feel forced, like it kind of did in American Pickle. It did not feel forced at all, I will say. I was actually very surprised by the conflict that they had, because, like I said, they're under the influence. They really don't know how drugs work. They're kind of just saying random stuff, and that kind of goes into the musical itself, which we kind of already touched on. But I thought it was a nice little, I didn't even know, like, it didn't even click until obviously you see the overalls when Hag sets up the whole he just needed that little push. And he even says, he's like, I know, he's like, I knew you could do it, you just needed a little guidance. And it's like, that's like the best friend you could probably ever have.
Yeah,
that's amazing for sure. Man. But I was trying to think, what else was it? I had something else I wanted to bring up. Was there any other scenes that come to mind? I had one in the bag, but I wanted to see if you had something. Because I think when Vince Vaughn, Principal Carlson's looking for his daughter, and he runs into that like midwife, or not midwife, but
like they're all just wine drunk, and
it was like Sarah Carlson's or whatever, like dank ass pregame.
Yeah.
And it's just like a bunch of like
suburban moms.
And like, yes. And I mean, of course, they they're looking for a show, and like the way he was dressed, especially with that mustache, it's like, I mean, come on, that was hysterical. But yeah, it was a great it was a great movie overall. I like the when Hags's joke when he during the beginning of the film when they show the burn victim, he's like, "I'll have what she's having," and then everyone's like, "No, that's not, that doesn't."
Yeah,
work.
I'm just roasting that burn victim in front of the whole school. The principal.
I felt so bad. Oh my god, I felt so bad.
It's like it's kind of realistic as to how like Darren and stuff tries to scare you in actual school.
If this movie was just such a great time, man. Like, I mean, I could talk about it for, well, not hours, but definitely the. I just really want to go back to this hummus thing because like it was such a unique and weird quirk to give a character. Because like he comes off as that, like, you know, perfect suburban dad, you know, principal of a high school. Of course, he has a child that goes to the high school, and they don't really like. Well, I mean, I guess they kind of sort of touch on, you know, she kind of goes through the embarrassment or like the realization, the shock when they find out that he is El Pantera, and when they when they're during the gauntlet when. I think Hags is snorting the coke, and then
the Scarface impersonation.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know any of it.
And then he comes out of nowhere with that quote.
Just the giant monologue.
Yeah. He's like quoting Robert De Niro. He's like, have you never seen Scarface? He's like, I've seen Scarface, okay? But yeah, man, I'm trying to think. Oh, the with what's his face, Andrew's character and his brother, like the half.
I love that that dart finger bow they both had. It's so weird. The weirdest weapon I've ever seen. Just tiny dart bow with a finger, just shooting them.
Hey, those things hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like, yeah, it was like a miniature mini like gun.
It was just a mini crossbow for your finger.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's so many Easter eggs and references in this movie as well. And like, you know, going back to when they're, you know, they don't really know what drugs and alcohol is, as you said earlier. It was a side character that was talking about keg stands.
Yeah. What's a keg?
And they just didn't know, and it's like that's just so interesting.
I like how they set up the world like that, where
the
rules are that no one understands what any of this is because they never have been able to.
Even during the intro, with I don't know who the narrator was. It kind of sounded like Morgan Freeman, but I don't.
I think it was like a Morgan Freeman impersonator.
Yeah, but you know, they did a really good job of, you know, like you said, you know, setting up what this world is and why they do what they do, and you know, the rest is just history. I will say it kind of just ends after a while. You know, after of course like the gauntlet, you know, they go to prom, but you never see them at the prom. You just see, you know, Griffin and his girlfriend. I'm trying to figure out what was her name again. Sarah? No, that was Hags' main squeeze. Throughout the movie, he was just so thirsty, dude. It was insane. Man, oh man. But was there anything? I'm sorry, I've been talking forever. Was there anything you wanted to bring up or talk about? Any talking points that you had written down?
I guess the few issues I had, most of them were centered around Vince Vaughn's character. There were some cringy, weird jokes that were made, specifically towards the end where he was talking about coming to his daughter. It was that was hard to watch. And then also one thing I wish they did more was that they didn't really set up the El Pantera thing very much. Like they might have mentioned it like once or twice, but they could have done a better job of like showing how legendary El Pantera was or something. Like maybe like a flashback to when he was in his prime doing it, and maybe they could have had some celebrity cameos on his team. That could have been cool.
I don't know. It seemed that he was in his prime when, you know.
Yeah. Well, donut alligator. What was it called? Alligator donut.
Yeah, something like they had to put the donut on top. Oh, that's scary, dude. Like honestly, absolutely not. Like I could not do that whatsoever. Like there's just no way. But
Yeah, they could have set up the lore for El Pantera a little bit more because he just kind of accept that he's this legend, but don't really know why.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. There were a few things that they definitely could have worked on when it came to the backstory. You already mentioned El Pantera. We only see the parents of Hags and Griffin for like a brief
they get knocked
second.
out and then they're done.
Like they're literally entering and exiting the same scene. You never see or hear from them ever again, which is actually really funny. But I wanted to bring up the cow scene, like when they're when Hags builds that the pedal bicycle or the bar bicycle car kind of thing. I'm drawing the name on the blank on the actual name of the machine that he built because those things are hard to pedal with just a few people. Like, let me tell you, I've done that a few times, and it's a challenge, especially them going up the hill. But I like the limo / cow scene. That was actually
I like the limo driver scene. It was because it's like the director was like, it seems like he was playing tricks on the viewers because this was their first time getting high in the movie, like ever. And I don't know if you noticed, but the limo driver, like the actor was changing.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, wait, what is happening? It's like the drugs are affecting me too. And he's just like rambling, like the weird. What was the slogan they kept saying throughout the movie? Hit the pipe or something?
Like,
down the
sucking down the pipe.
Yeah, suck it down the pipe.
Like that.
I will say, if you are in a state where it is legal to be under the influence of drugs, then this would be the perfect movie.
Yeah. All the California, Colorado people out there.
Illinois.
Drawing the blank. Illinois, yeah. I think Washington's the same way. I could be wrong. I don't know the exact how many states there are. I know Ohio tried.
Yeah, they got medicinal.
Yeah, they got medicinal. Yeah, they're trying to go for medicinal and recreational at the same time. I'm like, ooh, that's a bit pushy, isn't it?
But yeah, if I ever was under the influence and watched this again, then it sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, it definitely does. Well, whether it be, alcohol, drugs, weed, if that's your fancy, whatever. I would definitely watch this again.
But yeah, it's crazy just how like the director was just like playing tricks on the viewers. Like, wait, that's a different actor.
That was funny. The cow was just so random. Like, oh my gosh. Just, of course, giving her all the drugs in the world. And it's like, oh my gosh, I kind of sort of see it moving. And then he comes up and kicks Hags in the face, squirts all of his milk everywhere, and then that's pretty much it. He gets ran over by like a semi. Yep. It's just like, oh, that's great. Yeah. But, man, I believe we are kind of coming up on time here. So I wanted to see, of course, us going through our normal routine. How would you compare the binge to recent films that we have seen thus far? What was the last movie that we reviewed? I can't even remember because we did DC Fandom the previous week, I think it was. Yeah. But okay, so I mean, out of any films that you've seen so far, how does this stack up for you?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty much just a dumber, not as good version of Booksmart and these other kind of like Good Boys. Like it's in that same genre.
Realm.
Yeah. Not as good, like not even really close to as good, but
I would say this
dumb
is at
and
the bottom
fun.
of the barrel. Yeah,
with not much story at all.
Right, but it's like even with Good Boys had a really good story because everything kind of wrapped up at the end. Like, of course, the whole thing of the binge was prom, but again, we didn't see anything from prom instead of Griffin is
what even? I don't even remember the ending. It just ends. You're right. What even?
Yeah,
it's after they win the gauntlet, and then
yeah, and then the binge. That 24 or 12-hour period's over, and then I believe. Oh, that's what it was. It ends with them on the bar bicycle, and then I think. Griffin was asking Hags. He's like, Hags, you think in a limo? He's like, no, man, this thing fucks.
This thing fucks.
Oh, like Hags that was so funny. Quan. He was like, Quan? Who the fuck is Quan? Man, Vince Vaughn telling him to change his name. I was like, yeah, this movie's gonna be really good. I like this a lot for sure. But you ready to get into scores, or was there anything else you wanted to mention? Yeah. All right. Out of 100 doobies, what would you give The Binge on not Netflix? I'm sorry, Hulu.
It only feels right. It has to be 69. I mean,
I was gonna go 420.
Pretty high, unless it was 42.0.
42.0. Well, yes, I'll match your 69 for sure. Like
even as dumb and cringy as it was at times, it's just dumb fun.
It's a good time. Yeah, it really just is. We encourage anyone to watch this movie. Like I've already recommended to a few people that I know. They're like, oh, what's it about? I'm like, it's literally just like a crazy high school coming of age story type thing. It's kind of like Superbad, but not really. But it's the same premise in a way. But the story was the concept was very interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, like that would actually be pretty interesting. Like what would it be like if it was a sober America, if there was another prohibition, and we kind of went through all this whole ringer. So yeah. All right, 69 from both of us there. And, of course, before we close out here, like I said before, we are going to be we're seeing Tenet on Monday. By the time this is out, it'll be out tomorrow on Monday anyway. So it's Tenet day for us. So we're going to watch it. We're going to review it for you guys. We're going to release the non-spoiler review first. I believe that'll probably come out on Wednesday or Thursday, and then of course we'll have our news show every week that we do. That'll come out on Friday, and then we're going to have a spoiler review, spoiler cast or whatever you want to call it for Tenet as well. And I believe we're going to drop that on the day it hits in the States. I believe that is that Labor Day weekend?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure out the actual day. I'm drawing a blank on it now. And then, of course, we have our Mulan review coming up as well throughout Labor Day weekend. And then later on, I think a week later, we will be reviewing The Boys Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
The time is finally here, Devin.
Although it won't be for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Because I think it's the first 3 episodes, like you said, right? And then they're doing weekly. Same thing with Lovecraft Country. Down the road, we will be doing a spoiler review of season 1. Because, man, oh man, Devin, I'm telling you, just wait until tonight. It's a good one.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
It's good stuff. It kind of sucks. I've seen the first 5, so I have to kind of like wait until everyone's seen those, and then I can, partake in the last 5 with everyone else every single Sunday. So there's that. And of course, really, really quick, of course, you can listen to this podcast again on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Red Circle, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. And make sure to check out the other podcasts on the network. We got commentaries, we got sports, we got music, we got it all. It's great stuff. I'm going to leave a link to the description of the Music City Drive-In website for you to check out everyone else's content as well. And my name is Christian, and that was Devin, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Peace. Take it down, pipe.